Skidashi, frontal thrust out. This is one of the most fundamental techniques in sumo. The attacking wrestler strikes his opponent's face and chest with his hands to thrust them out of the ring. Skitaoshi, frontal thrust down. This technique results when the attacking wrestler's thrusts are so strong that the opponent falls, whether inside or outside the ring. Oshidashi, frontal push-out. This is another fundamental technique. The wrestler uses his strength to push hard against the opponent's upper body to force him out of the ring. Oshitaoshi, frontal pushdown. When a wrestler pushes so hard that his opponent loses his balance and falls, this is called a frontal pushdown, whether it occurs inside or outside the ring. Yorikiri, frontal force out. To complete a frontal force out, the wrestler grabs hold of his opponent's mawashi and walks him out of the ring with their bodies in close contact. This is the most frequently used sumo technique. Another form of frontal force out is when the attacking wrestler, without gaining a belt hold, uses an up and down movement of his own torso to force out his opponent. Yoritaoshi, frontal crush out. If a wrestler brings his opponent in close, as for frontal force out, but forces his opponent to the ground, this is a frontal crush out, whether it's inside or outside the ring. Abise taoshi, backward force down. To complete this technique, the attacking wrestler, while grappling at close quarters, maneuvers their whole body weight on top of their opponent and squashes them down into the ring. Uwatenage, overarm throw. To perform this throw, a wrestler needs to get an outside grip on his opponent's belt before throwing him to the ground. Shitatenage, underarm throw. This is the opposite technique to the overarm throw, and it requires the attacking wrestler to get their hands in under their opponent's arm, take an inside grip on the mawashi, and throw them to the dohyo. Kotenage, arm lock throw. This is a technique that can be performed without a belt grip by wrapping up the opponent's leading arm and pulling them down towards the ground. Suinage, beltless arm throw. This is another throw that can be performed without a mawashi hold. The attacking wrestler throws his opponent by getting his arm under his opponent's arm and lifting it up. Uate dashinage, pulling overarm throw. Here the wrestler has to get an outside belt grip before pulling and turning their own torso sideways as they pull the opponent past them and then throw them down. Shtate dashinage, pulling underarm throw. This throw requires an inside grip with the elbow of the pulling arm in close to the torso before the wrestler turns to send the opponent past them and pulls the throw. Tsukiotoshi. Thrust down. Tsukiotoshi is used frequently. It's when a wrestler twists his body to knock his opponent off balance before pushing him down and out of the ring. Hikiotoshi. Hand pull down. To perform hikiotoshi, a wrestler harnesses his opponent's forward momentum by taking hold of his arm or shoulder and pulling him forward and down. Hatakikomi. Slap down. Hatakikomi means slapping down a wrestler who's tried to drive forward in a low stance or lost his balance and fallen forward after a thrust or a push. Uchigake. Inside leg trip. To win by uchigake, a wrestler wraps his leg around the inside of one of his opponent's legs, tripping him and causing him to fall flat on his back. Sotogake. Outside leg trip. In Sotogake, a wrestler wraps his leg around the outside of one of his opponent's legs, tripping him and dropping him flat on his back. Kirikaeshi. Twisting backward knee trip. Kirikaeshi requires a wrestler to drive his knee into the back of his opponent's knee before twisting him to the ground. Ketaguri. Pulling inside ankle sweep. Ketaguri is an ankle sweep performed at the tachiai or initial charge, when a wrestler steps aside, trips his opponent, and takes him down. Komata Tsukui. Over thigh scooping body drop. Komata Tsukui is a combination technique in which a wrestler goes in for a throw before dropping his opponent by lifting his thigh. Kekaeshi. Minor inner foot sweep. Kekaeshi requires perfect timing to sweep the opponent's ankle and drop him to the ground. Headlock throw. Headlock throw. On this throw, the wrestler wraps his arms around his opponent's neck, twisting his body to wrap him up and throw him down. It's frequently used as a last resort to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Nichonage. Body drop throw. To execute Nichonage, the wrestler trips his opponent by placing his legs across his opponent's knee, flipping both the opponent's legs clean off the ground. In judo, this technique is known as osotogari. Kakenage. Hooking inner thigh throw. Kakenage is used when a wrestler is grappling up close with his opponent. The wrestler pulls his opponent in towards him and falls into the throw. In judo, this technique is known as uchimata. Chongake. Pulling heel hook. Chongake is a unique technique requiring the wrestler to hook the front part of his foot around his opponent's heel before forcing him to the ground. Kawazagake. Hooking backward counter throw. Kawazagake requires the wrestler to hook his leg around the inside of the opponent's leg and bend his body to pull him back and down. Okuri tsuriotoshi. Rear lifting body slam. This is another powerful slamming technique, which requires a wrestler to maneuver himself behind his opponent, lift him into the air, and slam him onto the ground. Tsuri otoshi. Frontal lifting body slam. With this powerful technique, the wrestler lifts his opponent into the air and slams him onto the ground rather than carry him out of the ring. Okuri tsuridashi. Rear lift out. This is another technique for gaining a belt hold and lifting the opponent clean out of the ring, but here the wrestler must first maneuver behind his opponent. Tsuridashi. Frontal lift out. To perform this technique, the wrestler uses his strength to lift his opponent by his belt and carry him right out of the ring.
Today, but he gets caught sideways by Kamawashi and in trouble and out.
Okuridashi. Rear push out.
Gets the grip, uses it nicely, goes right behind the Mongolian.
This technique requires the wrestler to get behind his opponent. The coup de grace is a simple push from the ring.
Big hit both men.
Kataskashi. Under shoulder swing down.
Slaps on the back and
Here the wrestler extends one hand to grip under his opponent's shoulder, turning sideways as he pulls his opponent forward and pushes him down with the other hand. Tsumatori. Rear ankle pick. Here the wrestler gets alongside his opponent and grabs his unstable ankle or foot to bring him down. Kotsumatori. Ankle pick. To perform this technique, a wrestler grabs the opponent's calf or ankle from the front and puts the opponent off balance by lifting his foot. Mitokoro zeme. Triple attack force out. To perform this technique, the wrestler gets in close and uses his leg to trip one of his opponent's legs, while picking up the other one and pressing his head into the opponent's chest to drive him down onto his back. Omata. Thigh scooping body drop. In this technique, the wrestler grabs the inside of the opponent's leg that is furthest away to force the opponent down onto his back. This rare technique has not been used since 1958. Soto komata. Over thigh scooping body drop. When a wrestler tries to throw his opponent but he remains standing and steps forward to keep his balance, the attacker picks up the opponent's leg from the outside, pushing the opponent down onto his back. Watashi komi. Thigh grabbing pushdown. Here, the wrestler grabs one of his opponent's legs from the outside, while using his other hand to push the opponent off balance and down to the ground. Totari. Armbar throw. To perform this throw, the wrestler wraps his arms around one of his opponent's arms, then twists to the side to throw him down. Sakatotari. Armbar throw counter. This technique is designed to function as a block and counter attack. The wrestler under threat from a totari or armbar throw tries to remove his arm from his opponent's grip while twisting his hips to throw him to the ground. Sotomuso. Outer thigh propping twist down. This complex move requires the wrestler to twist and throw his opponent by overpowering his arm with one hand while using the other to reach across and destabilize the opponent's knee by pushing from the outside. Uchimuso. Inner thigh propping twist down. Move requires the wrestler to twist and throw his opponent by overpowering his arm with one hand while using the other to reach across and destabilize the opponent's knee by pushing from the inside. Uwate hineri. Twisting overarm throw.
っと行きたいところなんですけど、
なるほど
もうひねってますね、上手から。
鮮やかでした。
This technique requires the wrestler to grab towards the rear of his opponent's belt, pulling it forward with an overhand grip to twist the opponent and throw him down.
上手は1枚。
Shtate hineri, twisting underarm throw.
期待広がりますかね。
そうですね、このまんまの相撲で、そして流れがうまく続いていけば面白くなってきそうですね。
In this technique, the wrestler gets a hold on his opponent's belt, pulling it forward with an underhand grip to twist the opponent and throw him down.
足取り Leg pick. With this technique, the wrestler grabs one of his opponent's legs with both hands, either knocking him down backwards or forcing him out of the ring. Susotori. Toe pick. Here, the wrestler resists the opponent's attempt at a throw and instead grabs his ankle from the outside to throw him down. Susoharai. Rear foot sweep. The wrestler attempts to throw the opponent and as the opponent holds his ground, sweeps his standing leg with his foot, knocking him down backwards. Tokkuri nage. Two-handed head twist down. To perform this move, a wrestler grabs the opponent's head with both hands and twists it to throw him down into the dirt. Kote hideri. Arm locking twist down. This technique requires a wrestler to grab one of his opponent's arms and twist it away from the opponent's torso, levering him down to the ground. Makiotoshi. Twist down. To perform the twist down, the wrestler supports his opponent's body with a hand thrust under his arm before twisting him down in the direction of that hand without taking hold of his belt. Amiuchi. Fisherman's throw. This technique requires the wrestler to grab his opponent's arm with both hands before twisting his own torso to throw the opponent back behind him like a fisherman casting a net. Harimanage. Backward belt throw. To execute this throw, a wrestler must reach over the shoulder of an opponent who's already leaning forward to throw him down behind him. Hikkake. Arm grabbing force out. Here, the wrestler grabs his opponent's extended arm before sending him out of the ring or down to the ground. Sokubi otoshi. Head chop down. This requires a wrestler to push down on the back of the head of an opponent who is leaning too far forward, forcing him to lose balance and fall forward. Sabaori. Forward force down. To perform this technique, a wrestler must pull his opponent toward him and use his bulk to push down on him, bending the opponent's back and forcing his knees to buckle.
上手を取ったバルト。
Oh, sakate.
沿いの攻め。
Backward twisting overarm throw. This technique requires a large wrestler to reach over his opponent's shoulder to grab his belt, spin him around, and throw him down backwards. Kaina hineri. Two-handed arm twist down. Here, a wrestler locks one of his opponent's arms with both hands to twist him down to the ground in the same direction as the arm.
Kubi hineri,
首をひねって首ひねり。
head twisting throw. To perform this technique, a wrestler wraps one of his arms around his opponent's neck and throws him down either to the left or right. Ippon zeoi. One arm shoulder throw.
見事に決まりましたね。
決まりましたね。
This throw, famous as a judo technique, requires a wrestler to wrap both arms around one of his opponents, to lift him up and over and throw him down. Ippon zeoi. One arm shoulder throw.
見事に決まりましたね
決まりま。したね。
This throw, famous as a judo technique, requires a wrestler to wrap both arms around one of his opponents, to lift him up and over and throw him down.
Okuri hikiotoshi. Rear pull down. Here, the wrestler gets behind the opponent and pulls him down on his rear. Okuri taoshi. Rear push down. In this technique, the wrestler needs to get around and behind his opponent and shove him in the back to send him crashing out of the ring. Okurinage. Rear throw down. This method requires the wrestler to get behind his opponent before dispatching him with a throw. Uchari. Backward pivot throw. The uchari is a do-or-die move used by a wrestler in trouble on the edge of the ring to throw his opponent out on his left or right side.
決めて出るのは錦木。
Kimedashi.
決め出し。
Arm barring force out. The kimedashi requires a wrestler to lock up both of his opponent's extended arms and march him out of the ring. Okurigake. Rear leg trip. The okurigake was used in the top division for the first time in May 2019. To perform this extremely rare technique, a wrestler gets behind his opponent, hooks his leg, and forces him down.
もう一度決め
Kime taoshi.
身動きが取れない。
arm barring force down. This technique requires the wrestler to lock up the opponent's extended arms before forcing him to the floor with his arms still locked. Waridashi. Upper arm force out. Here, the wrestler forces his opponent out of the ring while using one hand to push his upper arm or body up and back.
いい当たり。一気の出足。
後ろもたれ。
出ました。後ろもたれのような形になりました。
Backward lean out.
ただいまの決まり手は後ろもたれ。
With this technique, the wrestler can defeat his opponent even when facing the wrong direction, leaning into him to push him out of the ring.
右四つはしかし。
呼び戻し。
何かもう右から呼び戻しのような姿を見せました。
Pulling body slam. This is a rare technique that Yokozuna Hakuho, known for his varied approach, has used only once. The wrestler pulls the opponent in one direction before harnessing his momentum to force him down as he tries to resist. Koshinage. Hip throw. To perform this attention-grabbing technique, a wrestler must leverage his opponent to the ground with his hip. Yagura nage.
春馬富士のこう股の間に持ち上げるようにしてこうして
Inner thigh throw. This technique is known in Japanese as the watchtower throw, as the losing wrestler looks like a tower when lifted into the air. While the opponent is airborne, the attacking wrestler uses his inner thigh to lift the opponent and flip him to the ground. Tsukami nage. Lifting throw. This is an extremely rare throw. No one has won a top division bout with this move since 1957. The wrestler must grab the back of his rival's belt to lift him and drop him to the dirt, making this throw very difficult to perform.
Zubuneri. Head pivot throw. The wrestler pushes his head into the opponent's chest, using his head as a pivot to rotate the opponent to the ground. This extremely difficult technique has not been used in sumo's top division since 1998. Gasho Hineri. Clasp hand twist down. The wrestler reaches behind the opponent's back to, as the name suggests, clasp his hands together and swing the opponent to the ground. For more than 50 years, no top division wrestler has won with this unusual technique.
Isamiyashi. Forward step out. Here, a wrestler loses when after going on the attack and forcing his opponent to the edge of the ring, he mistakenly steps out first. Isamiyashi is used in regular Japanese to mean lose by jumping the gun. Koshi kudake. Inadvertent collapse. This non-technique is recorded when a wrestler falls even though his opponent uses no attacking technique. Fumidashi. Rear step out.
攻めていきましたけれども、稀勢の里がうまく回り込みました。
Here, a wrestler survives his opponent's attack but accidentally steps backwards out of the ring while trying to adjust his position. As the sumo ring is just 4.5 meters across, even professionals sometimes make this mistake.
はい。
Tsukite,
あーと手がついてしまった。
hand touchdown.
木村も持ちない。
This occurs when the wrestler touches the ground by mistake in a movement unrelated to the opponent's attack.
なんと猛虎波が先に手をついてしまいました。
Tsukihiza. Knee touchdown. This is another inadvertent way of losing when a wrestler under little or no pressure mistakenly lets his own knee touch the ground. The knee touchdown is the most recently seen non-technique in professional sumo.
Izori. Backwards body drop. Here, the attacking wrestler adopts a low stance, and as the opponent tries to pressure him from above, arches backwards to throw the opponent to the floor. As the attacking wrestler must be lower than the opponent, it's hard for anyone other than smaller wrestlers to succeed with this technique. The Izori is rare in professional sumo, but perhaps Enho, a popular small wrestler, will be the next competitor to show off this skill. Shumokuzori, bell hammer backwards body drop. This extremely dangerous move requires the attacking wrestler to lift his opponent onto his shoulders before arching his back to drop the opponent down behind his head. A wrestler with an opponent on his shoulders makes a T shape, which is why the technique is named after a T-shaped bell hammer. Kakezori, hooking backwards body drop. This very difficult technique requires a wrestler to thrust his head under the opponent's armpit and arch his body backwards to throw the opponent down while tripping him. As of March 2020, no wrestler had used this technique in the top division. Tasuki Zori, reverse backwards body drop. Here, a wrestler holds the opponent's leg and twists around to drop him behind his back. As of March 2020, Satono Fuji, one of the stars of our demonstrations, held the record for using this technique, having won with it 7 times. Soto Tasuki Zori, outer reverse backwards body drop. The attacking wrestler lifts his opponent's leg with an outside grip and arches his back to drop the opponent down behind him. As of March 2020, this technique had never been performed in the top division. Tsutai Zori, underarm forward body drop. This technique is used against an advancing opponent by a wrestler who, while passing through the gap between the opponent's arm and torso, arches his body backwards to throw the opponent down. As this technique uses the inertia of the attacking opponent, it's considered a counterattack.